Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. I finally have a chance to work on a reel that we previewed, oh geez, a couple of weeks ago now, I guess, and Bobby's been real patient about this, but this is the Chicago Streamliner. I think it's Chicago Gentleman is what it was called, Chicago Fishing Company Gentleman, and well, it got quite a mechanism here. We have a centering device that's going to allow the line to come out from the center. We have a level wind device run by a worm gear, and we have a main gear that's going to turn it all. So this one is working. That's always the good thing, but it also feels a little tight. So to me, when asked what that is, usually is grease clogged. So we're going to take this reel apart. We're going to do what we can to make this thing work a little bit better, and I think we'll all learn something in the interim. So if you like these types of videos, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe to my channel, please use that notification button to let you know when I'm posting reels. Today we're working on a kind of a unique and an oddball one. Who knows what tomorrow brings? So stay watching, and well, we'll all stay learning. Okay, we have two look like thumb screws that should release this case. I couldn't find the schematic for this, so we're kind of doing the old seat of your pants type of an approach here. When you do that, I recommend that you take pictures. That's because, well, you never know what's going to happen when you open up the lid, and if you are trusting your mind and you get sidetracked a little bit, a lot of bad things can happen. So take the picture as a reference point. That'll let you know where you are in the process and what's going to happen. So let's see what's underneath. I'm assuming this comes, there you go, that comes off. Well, there's our thinking. A lot of dried grease on that main gear and on the spool gear. Okay, we're going to do a couple of things here. I think we're going to remove these two screws. That's going to give us the view into that pinion gear or the spool gear. But I didn't get the story from Bobby. He's usually pretty good. I didn't get the story where he found this. He comes across an awful lot of reels, but I don't know where he got this one. Okay, we're going to see if that's going to release or if I have to take the screw out of the center pin. It looks like that's going to release this. And here's our spool gear. And I think, I'm not sure, I think this one has to be removed for the main gear. And then that's where you start to concern yourself. I'm going to take the pieces that came off, put them into a parch tray. I'm going to try and take a quick look underneath here. There's an anti-reverse on this. I just want to see if I can't see how that works. Okay, there's a little lever, and then a lever right there, kind of like a fuel roll. This is going to go on the other side of the lever. And I think we can do the cleanup here. I'm going to use a penetrating oil to see if we can't get the old greases off. There's quite a bit of it. We have a spring from here around the post and over, and it appears that that spring is held in by a screw. So that would be the next thing I think we want to tackle. This is a good place for a picture. May need a smaller screwdriver. Every now and then you get these mechanical lessons. I think creativity is a big part of that. Well, it's not a screw. Okay. sure what's holding that on there. It seems like a simple loop. Okay, well, I've just let it pivot on that, pulled it off to the side. I want to bring this up if I can. I want to bring that up and off so that we can clean that pinion gear. One of the things you want to do if you're working on a reel like this is, by all means, take your time. There's no rush in this, and rushing, well, that generally doesn't work out very well. Gotta find something smaller to get the grease out of the side. This spring metal piece here for the free spool release. Kind of interesting. That got cleaned. Next up, I think what we'll do is put this back on. A little bit of grease. Bring this back up. Get something in there, piece of line or something. Back up, bring this down. And in. We can reset this spring. Okay, we have our pre-spooling mechanism working. Now we want to clean that main gear. Lots of old grease on there. That's no question, that's what's slowing this reel down. I call these grease choked just because you can't breathe, if you will. A little bit of grease onto the axle shaft where that's going to ride. Grease onto the teeth of the main gear. We can bring this up and over. And this little clip belongs on the inside of that spring wire. Just like that. Next up then, we're going to take that cap and put that cap back on. That's going to hold our pinion gear in place. Go ahead and put the two screws that belong in there. Sometimes you feel like a jeweler when you're working on these types of reels. They were such precision, simple in their design, complex in execution, what the features and functions are that it does. Well, those of you that know me and little screws know that we don't play well together. Try and get that screw starter. Well, while I'm doing that, if you have any questions on this reel, I certainly have a few, or any reel, just leave them in the comments section. I do try to answer those. Maybe you want to ask what this screw starter is. This is a Klein tool screw starter. One of our channel viewers, Dick, sent this to me quite some time ago, and I'm ever appreciative for it. He saw me struggling before we decided to go use that. Okay. Let's put this back on, this back on. We've got all the greases out of the way. We've cleaned up the pieces and parts. Put the cover back on. Let's take the cover screws, put those back on. There's a cover on the other side we're going to investigate as well. Not quite sure what that one does, but we're going to learn. Get our handle on. And we have the screw. And me and these small screws, well, from time to time we're just not on the same length. There we go. I think we got it started there. Let's tighten that screw down. And the cap on. And I guess we can give it an initial test right here. Well, there's not much improvement on that. I want to do two things. I want to soak our line roller. Oh, it's loosening it up. There's a couple of different moving parts here, right? There's this set of wheels here. Oh, that certainly loosens it up. And then I'm a little bit concerned about this. So let's take this cap off. We're missing one of the caps. So let's see what's on this side. That should just come off like the other one did. It's starting to come off. Oh, there's another interesting assembly. So 4 screws holding on a drive that's going to take the spool drive and drive the outer gear here. So let's get adventurous again. 4 screws. Anywhere you have a gear, that can slow down the progression or performance of the reel. There's 2, 3, 4. Let's see if that assembly comes off now. It does. Okay, that's this is part of the assembly. I'm going to use my penetrating oil to get back there and clean a little bit of grease off the shoulder here. You can see how it's kind of puddled up here. We have a spool bearing, a spool gear here. Let's get a little bit of grease on that. And the drive for the wheel up top. Let's get some grease onto the drive for the line guide. Looks like there's a little bit of film here. Let's see if we can take care of that as well. Just wipe that down and off. And I guess while we're at it, a little bit of grease onto that stud. It's going to go into the carrier. Let's remount this. One of the things that happened is it came out of the track, so I want to reset the line guide in that track before I reset it into the carrier here. Okay, there we go. Turn that. Oh, that's turning easier. Bring our assembly back. Now I did something which is almost foolish at this point. I left those screws in. Screws tend to bounce, so just be careful when you're doing this. If they bounce and you lose one of these, it's going to be hard to find. Okay, so we've got kind of an interesting setup here. We've seen the internal design on it. There's not much maintenance involved in this one at all. Wipe that down a little bit. Oh, it's turning easier. All right, the one cap, we don't have the other cap. We'll just close this up. I'm going to call this one Fun. Fun little project. Kind of gives us a notion of the design of the reel. Make sure when you put the cap on that it's up It's the right side up. I almost put it on upside down. Snap that in place. It had the one cap was on the front runner. Let's turn that over, give it a spin. I'm thinking these are also spool adjusters. Yeah, if you loosen it up, it runs a little bit easier. Well, there you go. I think that's about all we can do with this reel, other than put a pole on it and take it fishing. It's a shame we don't have that little adjuster on this. I'm just going to check for a moment. I don't know which one's better to use. One of them is holding the spool true, putting the right tension on the spool, and the other one is holding the guide assembly over here. So I'm not sure which one is the better option there, but for now we'll leave it the way it was. Okay, well, there you go. That was a little exploration into a very unusual setup of a reel. We got to take it apart. We found out there was some dried grease in there that was causing a little bit of the issue with it. This is a direct drive reel, so it's going to allow you to cast simply by leaving it open. When you do that, your spool is going to spin and your line guide is not going to turn. Very interesting design with that. And then when you go forward, it's going to allow the reel to pick up the line, and again to allow you to retrieve. This is one of those where you kind of have the constant moving line guide. So what you want to do on this one is leave it in the center before you cast. And now when you cast, the line will turn out and it'll make a straight run for the hole there and the hole on the outside. And then when you're done casting, pick it up, bring it in. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I've kind of had a fun little exploration with that. Got to do a little bit of a cleanup with it and understand a little bit more about the Chicago. This is called the Chicago Fishing Equipment Gentleman, and how to take care of it, how it was made, and a little bit about cleaning it up. To our first responders and essential personnel, thank you for everything it is that you do to keep us safe. I truly do appreciate your efforts. And to everyone, please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.